So we have to examine and break down and look at this Dalai Lama situation. It's gonna be a very informative video. I'm gonna give you guys a different perspective on it, right? But nonetheless, it's messed up. And we need to expose it for what it is, right? So before we get into it, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like the video, support the channel in any way possible. All the links you can support it are in the description below. I appreciate the support you guys give on a daily basis, whether it's any of the things I just named or through donations. I really appreciate it. So I'm sure you guys have seen that controversy, the outrage which is needed against this Dalai Lama situation. It's completely and utterly ridiculous, stupid, predatory, all of the above, right? But I want to show you guys something, right, about these cult leaders, about these preachers with ill intentions. I want to show you how they move and how they do stuff, right? So with these cult leaders, they figure out that certain human beings have a tendency to want to believe in something, right? So what they do is they come up with they come up with some kind of religion whether it's already been used, or they come up with a doctrine that they personalize, right? And it sounds good. It sounds applicable to their life, right? The most common one is that they use the Bible. They might use the Quran, and they, like I said, they might come up with their own ways, right? But anyway, they come up with these doctrines because they are playing on people's tendencies to want to believe in something, right? Then they present themselves as the end-all be-all. They present themselves as this perfect being, right? Where you have to go through them to get their basic needs, for prayer, all these different types of things, right? And so they build up that reputation. They use that doctrine and enforce it on the people on a daily basis through violence or whatever. Might not be violence, but through teachings, right? To where the people see them as a godlike figure. And then after they preach, after they talk about the sermon, after they go to their quarters, they do some of the most debaucherous things you could ever come up with, right? This is why you got preachers taking money. This is why you have preachers molesting behind closed doors, right? It's even in Last of Us, if you guys have seen that series, where they go up against Ellie and Joel. Joel's sick. He has a bullet wound that he has to recover from. Ellie goes out to find some food. She gets taken. Joel has to come up and fight while he's healing. And in the middle of all that process, they're being invaded and fought by a religious cult, right? Where the guy is going out and saying that he's going out and finding food, but when in reality, he's a cannibalist. He's killing people within the own tribe to withhold the reputation, to uphold the appearance as if they're going out and hunting and God is saving them. But in reality, they're cannibalists, and they eat most of the food for themselves and give the people very little, right? So you got that what's going on too, right? Another example, you have Rasputin, if I'm not mistaken, right? Now, Rasputin, if you've read some of Robert Greene's book, he talks about this example where he uses himself as a spiritual figure. He used to mentor women, right? And tell these women, hey, if you want spiritual cleansing, if you want to be saved, if you want to be in God's favor, you need to sleep with me and have sex with me, right? And these women, as gullible as they are, because they want somebody to believe in, they need guidance, right? They fall for that trick. Now, bring it full side with this Dalai Lama situation, right? And this is what makes the situation even worse, right? What makes the situation even worse is he has a small child, probably under the age of 9 years old, right? Between 5 and 10 years old. As a child, you depend on the environment. You depend on the adults around you, right? Even the parents are probably like, hey, I believe in this guy, because Dalai Lama is supposed to be a peaceful guy. He's supposed to be a spiritual leader, not about violence. You know, he won a Nobel Peace Prize and he stood up against China in their opposition. So, I mean, he's built up this reputation, right? And the other Dalai Lama, I think this is the 14th one. There's been a couple of them before him, right? And before him, there might have been some good religious leaders, right? But with this one right here, we can clearly see he has an ulterior motive, right? And he's playing on this kid's lack of ignorance, because he wouldn't do this with a 18-year-old. He wouldn't do this with a 20-year-old, right? He's doing this to a 5 to 10-year-old kid that doesn't know any better, that is depending on him and thinking he's telling the truth, right? And thinking everything that he's saying is the truth and that he should do it because he's the spiritual life figure, right? I mean, guys, look at the situation for what it is. Why would you tell a kid to suck your tongue? What benefit does that make, right? And this is what happens with these spiritual leaders, these cult leaders with ulterior motives. They start implementing things that don't make sense, that are not connected to the doctrine that they're talking about, right? So like with the Rasputin example, they'll use religious stuff to have sex with these women. They'll use certain things. Since they built up this reputation, they'll be like, hey, you like to, with the kids, suck my tongue. Doesn't correlate to anything. They'll use sex. They'll use the money, right? You should give me your money because God told you, and you need prosperity, right? So this is what happens, and this is the play-by-play and the playbook on how these ill-intentioned leaders mislead the people, right? Now, a lot of people are disappointed in him because he's not a leader that's supposed to be predatory, but he is. This is every right of predatory behavior against a child. He's probably done this numerous times behind closed doors. And people have a right to be outraged, right? And you have to watch your younger people around these people. Do not just leave them alone. Do not just trust them because they're some pastor or a religious leader or therapist, whatever it is. Do not just leave them with them without vetting that person properly. Because it seems to be a common theme within religion. You see the Catholic, every other week, there's like a different Catholic that's molesting children, all these different things, right? So you have to pay attention and be aware on a daily basis, right? Especially if you have young ones, right? So, but that's my video. You guys go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like the video, and I'll be back with another one. We out.